welcome to another All Hands on Deck. You're going to have to excuse the state of me today. My kids went into school and they were doing the flu sprays, and as a result, because we haven't been exposed for a few years because they're being homeschooled, they've both been knocked for 6, and today I've woken up feeling somewhat cagey. So you're just going to have to deal with that, I'm afraid. But I thought it was important to have a chat today. Obviously, over the last few days, we've seen disruption in the Middle East. I doubt any of you have missed the Israel-Palestinian situation. And what we've seen roll out is that there are many, many people who are actually really ignorant to what's been going on in the Middle East for a number of years, specifically the Palestinian-Israel issues. What we've also seen is some true colours showing. I'm not going to repeat what other commentators have said, but very much think for yourself. Look into the history yourself. Look into what the Palestinian people have been up against, as well as understanding historical context and the biblical kind of promises the sort of Israeli people feel that they had. And for anyone who tells you it's black and white, it is not black and white. It is not black and white at all. I know kind of where my empathies lie, and it's very much with the people first and foremost. But what we've seen is the exposure of those who consider themselves awake and aware, and they've really just fallen for the old story again. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that the Mossad is behind a lot of this. I wait to be proven incorrect, but I'm just basing this on history and gut feeling and what I'm seeing roll out now. And I know how these people work. The Mossad are incredibly clever, and if you think for a minute the Israeli security services are thrown off by this, you've got another thing coming. I've been studying the Mossad since I was 14 years old. Believe you me, they have incredible talent and intelligence and skill and money, and we'll leave it at that. But what it has done is given us an opportunity to see those who still are blinded by what's thrown at them, those that jump to conclusions based on what's put in front of them without taking the chance to A, take a deep breath, and B, really start educating themselves individually on what has been taking place, and assumptions have been made. Now, for me, I knew in my gut for many, many years, like I said, I started looking at this when I was 14, that at some point the Israeli-Palestinian situation was going to blow up. I personally believe it's inevitable, and I personally believe that some are driving this for greater control. I think this is being done to shift perceptions that may have been there, and we're still seeing those perceptions are out there, and I personally am very grateful for those perceptions. But I see this as a move by those that aren't good to push their agenda further, and for some it's trying to fulfill biblical just not with it today. I think you can tell just by looking at me. But prophecies, biblical prophecies, and this is a very dangerous position for people to be in, that they're using biblical prophecies to fulfill what they want to see coming because of their belief systems, of their faith. And first, you're playing God. Let's look around us. Let's look at what's been going on and the revelations we've had over the last few years. Playing God never works out well, not for the people. And I think that's a dangerous precedent to set, to believe you can play God. And I think that's what's taking place here. We will see. I also believe that there is some cleansing being taken place, that if left not in check would then challenge the ethnic cleansing we saw taking place in World War II and still happening across the world today. When I see people in uproar and I think, well, I didn't hear you talking about what happened in Syria, I didn't hear you talking about what happened in Yemen or happens in Yemen, I'm not believing what you're, that you don't know the other atrocities that have taken place by predominantly the West against the Middle East over the years, and what is still taking place today. Save your fake tears, save your fake emotions. If you cannot have that same level of emotion for every single child across the Middle East that has been suffering for so many years, I don't want to hear a word from you. I don't want to hear a word from you. But yes, we're seeing ethnic cleansing, I believe, underway. That's just my perception. Please, please, please do your own research. Don't just take what I'm saying or anyone else is saying involved in this. Do your own research. It's an absolutely key time to make sure we're using our discernment. We fully understand the picture from both sides, from all sides, from every angle. And that takes a lot of research and a lot of dedication, but that is what is needed. If you truly want to be part of an awakened people, then you really need to be looking at everything from all angles and drawing your own judgments. Listen to your gut and pray. You know, I pray on it. I pray and I pray and I pray. And I am pretty sure that I'm guided in what I do. And that is where my faith lies, and to each their own. You know, I'm saying pray, pray, pray. If that isn't where you're at, that's not where you're at. You know, you're cool, no criticism whatsoever. But for those of you who have connected with God, now would be a really great time to make sure that connection's nice and strong, because you're going to need him to turn to over the coming months. You're going to need a faith. You're going to need to be grounded and in touch with reality. And that's essential, because for me, it always was the final frontier, as it were, is the Palestinian-Israel situation. That for me was always going to be what blows things wide open. And I think that's, in the fullness of time, what we're going to see happen here. So I expect there to be ricochets across the world that have come from this point, from this moment. I think we're going to see things picking up pace quite dramatically. And I think every single one of us is going to feel it. And we're going to feel it because we can see it. But we still have to be the strong ones. We still need to be the healers. We still need to be the ones that are helping those that as they awaken from this point. Because for them, it's going to be an absolute whirlwind. It's going to be a kick in the gut, a knee in the bollocks, whatever way you want to put it, as they awaken now. And it is really our responsibility to help them through this whilst taking care of ourselves and each other. You know, we've got these support networks across the UK now. Let's use them for what they're there for, which is to support each other through the rockier times. And we are entering that truly now. And it will be unstable. Do not be surprised if the internet goes down. I'm not saying it will, but don't be shocked if it does temporarily. Do not be surprised if you don't see energy prices go back up again and food prices go up. We are going to be squeezed tight. And in a way, it really has to be this way for the world to wake up. The world needs to wake up now. You know, they've had long enough. This next 12 months is critical. And I believe that we do win. God wins. I absolutely believe that. But I also did warn about some darker, rockier times incoming. And I think we are now really in the final leg of that. And I say that relatively speaking. Obviously, I've been doing this for like 20 plus years. So for me, this is definitely the last leg. But that doesn't mean this is over in the next couple of weeks by any stretch of the imagination. We've got a bit of a way to go. So now is the time to dig deep. Now is the time to make sure you've got food stock in, you've got water stock in. Again, I'm not saying anything like that's going to happen, but plan for the worst and hope for the best. That's the kind of girl I am. And I'd recommend others consider doing that. If you can plant food, plant food. If you can get together and form community growing groups, do that. If you can get together and form community support groups, mental health groups. If you can push back, get your MP, be a pain in your MP's backside. Stay lawful, but be a pain in their ass. Do it. Just absolutely do it. You know, if you can get onto your local council, start questioning them. Where's our money going? What are you spending it on? We're not happy about that. Let your voice be heard. If there was ever a time to stand up and raise your voice, it is now. Stay within the law. Don't become aggressive. Don't become violent. Any of those things. You're just going to feed into the bad guy's hands if you do that. But definitely use your voice. What we're going to need to do is get into, not survival status. That's a bit extreme. But we certainly need to be understanding that now is the time. If you've not done anything to prepare yourself emotionally, practically, physically, now is the time. And, you know, I'm not wanting to bring bad news because we knew we were going to have to go through this. We knew this was going to happen. So there's no great shockers, but it means we're actually here now. You know, for me, the Israel-Palestinian thing is the trigger that we've actually reached that point now. Just be mindful of what you're absorbing and who you're listening to. Understand that there is good actors, there's bad actors, there's good actors doing bad things, bad actors doing, you know, good things. There's players playing both sides of the game. You know, it's all over the shop. Trust your instinct, trust your gut, trust God. And most of all, take care of yourself, of your family, and of those around you. And we will come through the other side, and it's going to be wonderful when we come through the other side. But we've got to go through this. This is a pinnacle moment in human history. This moment will be talked about, it will be written about in years to come. And you get to play a role in this. You get to fight for good. You get to fight for God and for those around you that you love. So now is the time to strap on the armour of God and face what's coming. And we will do it, and we will do it standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder, as we walk into the unknown and start to make a difference in this world. But have a good week. Stay calm. Don't panic. We've got this. And I'm sending you all my love and prayers, and we'll catch up soon.